Victoria's Secret's model, breast cancer thriver, Christine Handy with Mullet Champion, Proud Flatty, Sears, Flat Out Secrets.
So how long have you been flat?
Since 2020. Very recent.
So
Yeah.
last 3 years.
Last 3 years. And I wasn't, it's funny because people, unless you followed me for years, you would know that I originally had implants after breast cancer. So I had implants after my mastectomies. I had several revisions, and then my implants were recalled by the FDA in 2019, which is why I had another reconstructive surgery where they took those out and put new ones in. So they traded those out and put new ones in because those were causing cancer. Didn't want to go down that road again. So they put the new ones in, and within 5 months, I had a staph infection, which turned into a MRSA infection, which from the inside out was eating my skin and the implants, et cetera. So in June of 2020, I became concave, which, I mean, some people call it flat, some people call it concave. When you have as many revisions as I did with
you got to cut everything out.
You don't have the nice, pretty aesthetic flat closure that a lot of people can have, but so it
That's
really
something that is something that's important that I don't think people think about because they only think of, I need these boobs to get whole again and go back to the old me.
Right.
And I don't think I've realized that the people that are concave that don't have the great flat closure are usually ones that had the implants first.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. Yeah. I mean, my chest looks I've seen people with aesthetic flat closure. It looks very different.
See, and it's funny, I didn't use that word ever. I still don't use that word, those words a lot for it. I just say flat because that wasn't a thing when I went flat back in 2014.
Yeah.
I just said,
yeah, no, I know. They've now labeled it. I think it's even.
Yep.
It's like society. It's like society, right? I mean,
got to label everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you queer? Are you this or that? No, I'm just Sears. Doesn't matter. Just Sears. What do you identify as, Sears? Everybody needs labels for things though. And I think, I didn't know it was a word. It wasn't back then. I think Christy Avila is the one that actually got that put together in the books. I think it was Christy Avila that got that put in the books from Fierce Flat Ford.
Okay.
I think it was her or Kim Bowles. I don't know, one of the two of them. But I just said, no, I'm not. I went and looked at him and I was like, I have MS. I don't want to put something else in my body. I'd rather have one surgery and be done. I didn't know anything bad about implants at all. I had no concept of anything, or the deep flap I kind of wanted to do that for a tummy tuck. And he goes, I'm not letting you sit through that just for a tummy tuck because that's a 12-hour surgery.
Maybe maybe just one.
Well, I've heard that the fat actually gets your body dissolves the fat back into itself sometimes, a lot of times.
50%. So they have to put 50% more in order for your body to have as much as it needs.
You have to get fills, kind of like Botox and stuff, don't you?
I pretty much did everything. So I didn't do the dip flap, but when I had my mastectomies, I'm really small. I mean, I'm tall, but I'm really thin.
Yeah.
And am I allowed to say that?
That you're thin?
Yes.
I'm fat.
I'm kidding. Like, I mean, I'm joking. That was a joke.
I know.
People are like, oh my God, you can't say. Anyway.
So care.
I had a bit of a dip in the top of, even with the implants. So the implants were here, and then I had a little bit
of fat grafting on there, didn't they?
Yes. And so that's when I knew that they had to put double for only 50% to stay. I mean, what we go through, right? I mean, imagine the years that I took off my life by reconstructive surgery after reconstructive surgery. Think about my liver, all that anesthesia.
Oh, I never even thought about that. I never even thought about that. Wow.
Under the anesthesia, that's hard on your body. I mean, I never, ever, ever want to tell people what to do, ever. It's not my job. It's not my place.
Yeah.
It's none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason that we story tell is so, hey, this could happen. hey,
Yeah.
this is a possibility. And the thing that drives me a little bit crazy about, I'll just speak about my story. I wasn't given an option other than implants. Actually, no, I was given the option of deep flap. So
Well,
those
yeah,
are the,
because you're a fashion model. Of course, you can't go without boobs.
well, but I mean, but nobody said to me, oh, you could do this flat closure. No, I never heard of that before, ever.
Mm-mm.
I
It's
think
not
that
offered.
people have a right to know.
It's not offered a lot of times.
I
But
think,
to be fair, being a fashion model, you would not have gone flat.
I'm
Would
not
you have?
saying I would have. I'm not saying I would
Yeah,
have.
but you know what I mean? But that's the thing too. I think a lot of times people aren't offered that, but even when they do hear about it, they're just like, I can't go without my boobs.
But that's not that's not my place to say, but what I
Yeah.
want to do is go into every plastic surgeon's office in the country and say, you've got to
You
offer
have to
this.
offer it.
You
Absolutely.
have to offer it. Not only is it acceptable, it's healthy, it's beautiful. And so that's
Mhm.
what frustrates me.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you on that. I'm not against implants unless
No.
it's a friend, unless it's a friend of mine. And then I'm like, please don't, please don't. But I mean, I won't say that to anybody. I have a friend that is going to get a preventative because she has the genetic, and her mom's actually going through chemo again right now.
Oh,
And she goes, what did you use on your scars? And I was like, why? And she said, I am not going to flip that coin. I got the genetic testing back. And I said, you're going flat, right? And she goes, oh, I don't know. And I was like, you're going flat, right? You are going flat, right? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, honey, you already have MS, please. And I sent her a bunch of videos, and because she's a friend of mine and I know how her MS is. I'm going to sit with her mom in chemo this week. So, but maybe, maybe I'll talk to her mom a little bit more because I mean, it's hard. Okay. So the way I present
yes.
is a lot different than, like I said, the way you present.
Yeah.
You as a model
Mhm.
going without boobs, I can't even imagine and fathom that thought process, let alone these femmer women, For me, it was kind of like they weren't very big anyways. I always wore a sports bra, and it's just like they're there and that's it. I didn't hate them. I didn't care about, it was just a
Right.
thing that was there. And so it wasn't as big of a thing for me, so I don't have that.
Mhm.
I can speak about it, but I can't understand. It's just like breast cancer survivors can't understand what it is to be flat. They can speak about their experience like through the chemo and stuff, but I can't speak of the experience it would be for somebody that does present like you. I mean,
I think
that has to be hard.
I think that's a beautiful message though, because we shouldn't be speaking about things that we don't know or feel ourselves. And I think that's really important to say in any conversation because the world doesn't work that way.
Mm, They
They,
think it does.
I mean that, but it's ignorance, really.
It is. It is. Yeah. I had another friend just post that it's acquaintance friend that she posted, she was diagnosed just recently this week. And I reached out to her and I said, hey, I know we're not close or anything, but if you have any questions, I'm here. And she's like, oh, I thought of you first thing because, I follow you and everything. And I was like, good. And I said, if you want, I have information, but you may not like it. I said, and I won't give it to you unless you want it. And she goes, no, I would like it. And so I said, it's not my story to tell. So I sent her some videos of other people's. I think I may have sent her, a couple of different friends of mine that are on every spectrum of looks, you know what I mean? So it's not just somebody
Yeah.
that looks like me and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And she goes, I don't know. She goes, a friend of mine's flat though. You should reach out to her. And this girl has been flat for years. And she goes, and she laughed so hard when I called us flatties.
Oh,
She's like, she didn't, nothing. She had never heard of us, never heard of heard of flatties, never didn't know there was anybody out there.
wow.
And that's what's sad. So many are so alone and don't know others are out here like us.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what I love about you being in the mainstream media is
Right.
being seen, because we need to be seen and we have to be heard.
Yes, of course. Like I said, knowledge is always power.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you know not just if you know it's an option, but there's a collective group of people out there who are also championing just for just to say that this is beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's enough community, but we can't do that if we don't talk about it.
Well, and that's the thing, and we, like, there's a couple of them in my group, Flat Out Love, that is like, well, one of them just joined. She's like, well, I wear prosthetics. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, a lot of us don't because we need it to be seen and we want it to be seen. But if you're not comfortable like that, you don't have to be. And that's like when they say, well, I don't know about coming to the meetups because I'm not comfortable taking my shirt off. You don't have to. We all get there on our own time or we don't. And that's okay too. We're all still the same.
Exactly.
You know, at the end of the day. And so it's, I don't know, it's crazy to think of the fact of how many there are out there that we don't even realize are flat even.
Yeah.
I know 10 people that are flat in real life, that not from groups.
That's a
that
lot.
I know in my real life.
That seems like a lot.
Well, about 3 of them went and took my picture when they got diagnosed. I just know a lot of people though.
Yeah.
So, and I put my journey on the interwebs, you know, and so everybody knows, hey, I just got diagnosed. And so they come to me, you know, because I am very open about it. And you know, and I think we have to be.
Yeah.
Because doctors don't know because they haven't been through it. They only know what the patients tell them.
Right. Yeah.
You
Isn't
know,
that a bad world?
well, it's true, you know, they're guessing and going off of what the books say, and the textbooks aren't always right.
Right.
You know, I mean, how many breast implant illness cases are there? We don't know because they don't document it right. And a lot of times they blow it off as not being the case from what I'm finding and hearing.
Or dismissing it as something else. Yeah. Relabeling it.
Yeah. And, oh, it's not that, you know, it's not
I think
this.
there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out about that.
I agree. It has to be, it's going to have to, with as many, there's only maybe 20% of the people I know that have implants that aren't sick from them.
Wow.
If that, you know.
Wow.
You know, I mean,
That's terrible. That's so tragic.
It is. And the fact that there's a black box label that nobody sees or nobody hears about. I smoked for 23 years. Guess what I did? I carried around that box that said they'll kill you on it. I think if you get implants, you have to carry around that box with you, you know, I mean, kind of thing. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even, I mean, I knew they had a black box. I didn't know that nobody has ever seen that.
Well, I mean, they don't show it to people and they don't tell them.
Well, right.
Most
Well,
patients.
I mean, I had implants. You're right. They didn't, of course they didn't show it to me, but I wonder, you know, it's funny because when I had breast cancer, I had a tumor on my left nipple and it had like a little antenna on it. And for months and months and months prior to my diagnosis, I had a cast on my right arm. So my phone was in my chest, like, you know, right here in my sling. So people would say, I mean, in my sports bra. So I would say to people, you know, there's got to be something with these cell phones. Well, guess what? If you dive deep enough, there's a black label, black box label that says, you know, something to that effect. I don't want to quote
on cell phones.
Yes. Yes. I don't remember.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly what it says.
Makes sense.
I don't want to misquote.
Well, but it makes sense.
Well, and I'm not saying that that's what caused my breast cancer. I could never say that because who knows? I mean, like nobody knows what's causing it. If they did, then they could prevent it. Nobody's saying what causes it.
No.
So I'm not going to say I don't know.
Well, they don't, and they can only speculate, unfortunately, you know, and it's like, you know, they knew everything in the world about the vaccine, but they can't figure this out that they've been working on for a long time. It just blows my mind. But it's funny. I got diagnosed with MS back in 2000, actually exactly 23 years ago this month. And I was in an MS drug study for 3.5 years, and I don't listen to side effects because they tell you what to have when you know, the side effects. Because I mean, if they took words become things. If they tell you what the side effects are, why do you think the people in the placebos end up with the side effects?
Oh, I never thought about that.
Because they told you what to have. I don't listen to that crap. I never do. I did a survey for one of the medicines that I'm on, you know, a while back, and they said, you know, what does that say to you? And I said, that says that only 15% of the people with the real medicine have side effects. And they're like, what? And I said, because 25 over here and 40 here, if they didn't have anything, you told them what to have, and they put placebo, but they're having the same side effects, means only about 15% really did. So a lot of it's right here.
Of course, yes.
I mean, because but it's true. They tell you how to feel. And like I work part-time at a CBD store, and we don't tell people how it's supposed to make them feel. We just ask them after about 15 minutes, how do you feel?
Right,
Because
right,
if you
right.
tell them, then they're like, it's if you tell people how to feel all the time, you know. Well, this
True.
is the shot. How many times did you hear people that are going to get the vaccine? Well, I'm going to be out for a couple of days. I got to go get my next shot.
Because people said it.
And so, anyways, I didn't listen to it. One of the side effects was skin cancer. And mine weren't that big. So it just thought it was skin.
Yeah.
And it was in the, and that's how I got my breast cancer. We're 90% sure.
Wow.
Yeah. But you know what? I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
Would not change a thing.
Yeah.
And,
Oftentimes people say the same thing.
oh,
It's interesting.
cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Oh.
It really is.
Tell us why.
It changed who I am as a person. Well, I mean, deep down, I was always this person.
You blossomed. You came out.
I'm less judgy about people. I don't care who you are, who you sleep with, who you worship, who you vote for. I could care less if you have a red MAGA hat on. I care about who you are to me and how you treat people. I don't care. I was raised in a very racist white town. I have so many Black friends. I don't care. I mean, do I know all about the same cultures? No, because I mean, they ran them out of my town. They really did. They ran them out when they moved into town. It was bad. And, I'm just so less judgy about anybody now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just matters how you are and who you are to me, as far as how you treat me.
Yeah.
And I think it's given me my purpose. I was a window salesman for 14 years when I got diagnosed, and now I'm a comedian and actor. An activist.
Is right. That's quite a transition.
I mean, I have an IMDb page. What?
Wow. Good for you.
From selling windows. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I never would have imagined my life like it is. And I've met so many amazing people and just I lived my life.
You're a connector.
Yeah, I am very much so a connector. But the biggest thing that has really, one of the biggest things that it's taught me is, how everybody says YOLO?
Yes.
You only live once. That's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
Okay.
That's if you didn't have cancer. It's YODO. You only die once. You live every day.
I love that. Good for you.
That perspective changed me, because I mean, it's YOLO to me means, oh yeah, go bungee jumping, go skydiving, take the chance. YODO means take all the chances, do everything you can every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we have that common. I love that. It's courage.
Because you have to after this. You don't know, I mean, one of the flatties that was my neighbor, basically, not even a mile away from me, she just passed Saturday. She was stage 4 when I met her and everything, and we only hung out a couple of times. But she passed away, and she was younger than me, and it's so life is too short. And people say that, but they don't really grasp that, I don't think, till they've been through something.
Yeah, that's really sad. Yeah.
It is. But you know what? I'm happy for her because she was in so much pain.
Oh, that's
I'm happy for her that she's without that now,
Yeah.
So
in a peaceful place. Well,
yeah.
That's what I
Oh, absolutely. She's definitely a better place. You know what's going on around here, right? I don't, because I hear about it, but I don't listen to it. So you go ahead. Let's what?
Talk about the tour.
Oh, the Flat Out Love tour. Yeah.
I see it.
So yeah, I have a group called Flat Out Love, and we are a Flatties meetup group because too many Flatties feel alone and they don't know anybody. And me and my friend Bobby, I called her when I was in Colorado 2 years ago, and I said, hey, you think we could put on the largest Flatties meetup in the world on top of the largest flat top mountain in the world? And that's all the group was supposed to be, is for that meetup.
Oh, awesome.
It became so much more.
That's so cool.
I figured out how to do this map, and we put a map in the group, and we have 3,000 members as of probably today. We're like within 8 members of 3,000. But we put this map up in there, and they could mark themselves. We've got people all over the world that have connected with people in their neighborhood. And now there's a bunch of little Flatties meetup groups in each state and stuff. And it's really cool because just going to dinner or lunch with a Flattie changes you.
Yeah.
I mean, just people can't get it if they haven't got it.
True. I love that.
Get it if you don't get it. So yeah, So we did
That's
that
very
and we changed a lot of lives in Colorado. And this year I was like, well, what are we going to do? And so many people have said, we can't afford to go to California. We couldn't afford it. We couldn't go to Colorado because of the altitude or this. And I was like, why don't we go to them?
That's so cool. Good
So
for you.
we're getting an RV and going through 35 states throughout the US and doing a bunch of meetups. And there are a bunch of them actually falling behind with us, even traveling in their own trailers or cars and
Wow.
falling throughout the US. It's insane. A
That's
bunch of people are trying to go along with us, even to all
that's
the
amazing.
bunch of different stops. So then you're going to be one at least, if not more, right?
I am for sure.
Good.
Absolutely. I'm showing up for sure.
Well, I told the Grace Project you were coming to Cape Cod for
Oh,
sure
awesome.
for a shoot. She
Okay.
does an amazing job.
Awesome.
So yeah, the Grace Project's amazing. But so tell me, so you were a fashion model before you ended up with breast cancer or
Yeah.
while
Since I was 11. Yeah.
11?
Yeah. 40 years. 40 years. I'm a lifer.
Sounds like it. Did you do that or did your parents do that?
Oh no, my parents were totally against it. I did.
Okay. Okay.
I was like, nope, I want to do this. This is the
No
profession.
drag queen groomed you then.
No, no. My mom was like, no, we're not doing that. I was like, I'm going to do that. So you can tell, obviously, that I'm pretty persistent.
So what made you want to get into that at 11 years old?
Well, I mean, I try to translate myself into that like 11-year-old kid, and I try to remember. People used to come up to me and say, "Oh, you're so pretty. You should model." And I wanted to make an income. I wanted to have an income. I wanted to work. And so I
Mhm.
thought, well, if people think that I can do this, and I probably can, and I can probably make some money. And so I started. And when I was 16, I was like, okay, well, mom, I don't need you anymore, because she would have to be the chaperone. She would have to come
Mhm.
with me to the photo shoots. At 16, she didn't have to come anymore. And so at 16, I was on my own to go to my modeling shoots, but I was a very good student and I would bring my homework. So when they were doing my hair and makeup, I'd be reading or doing my projects
Wow.
on the shoot. So yeah, it worked out. I went to college, I went to SMU, and then I thought to myself when I was at college, what am I really studying? Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do after college? And I ultimately ended up staying in the modeling industry my entire career.
Well, but now you're also an author.
Well, that was before breast cancer. So then after
Okay.
breast cancer, I really didn't go back to modeling until 2020. So I had breast cancer in 2012. And then I wrote my first book in 2015. And then my book was bought to be optioned to be a film. Then I started to publicly speak like a motivational speaker. Then I started to be on social medias and became a social media influencer. Then I was invited to be on some nonprofits, the board of these companies. So I'm on the board of 3 nonprofits, and I mentor breast cancer, a lot of people in the breast cancer community, just as an aside. And I also mentor prisoners as an aside. So I don't have much of a social life.
I get it.
I do other things too. I do. Well, now I model. I'm back modeling, and most of it is runway and print. And so I did a campaign with Victoria's Secret as a breastless model, which I think was important.
Oh, very.
And I also I've walked in 4 runway seasons. So New York Fashion Week and Miami Swim Week. And, it does take a fair amount of courage to walk in a bathing suit when you're 51 years old in Miami Swim Week. It's the largest swim runway show in the world. And I was with all that cute 18-year-olds, and I was looking around going, this feels a little brave.
I think it's very brave. Plus
Brave.
being different, not just age,
Oh,
but
yeah.
breastless.
Oh, yes. Yes. I mean, I wasn't there because of my age. I wish, I wish I'd never had breast cancer, but I wish I'd started earlier as a breast cancer survivor, but I just didn't. I really wanted to keep my career on writing and, as as an influencer, so to speak, on social media, because I thought that I could have a big impact. So modeling wasn't even on a focus for me at all. But it was when I lost my chest and became flat that I realized that I had to go back to modeling. Because if I could feel this bad about losing my chest, and I have an enormous support system, and I don't have to go to work every day, which is kind of freedom, right? In a way.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine people who had to show up at work after this type of devastation and didn't have the support system. So I felt like,
Yeah.
I felt like I could be, if I'm walking in New York Fashion Week, one, I'm representing the community, but I'm also saying to them, here's some courage, borrow some from me. Like, we can do this as a community. We can show up in the world. And I'm not less beautiful because I have no chest.
I think it's hotter personally. I'm not no
Well,
homo, but do you?
like,
But just in
that
general.
that doesn't negate my value. It doesn't negate my worth. And it certainly doesn't negate my beauty.
Oh God,
And,
no.
and so if I can show that, then maybe that could help women. Maybe that could be an instrument of hope and inspiration to a lot of people. That was my goal. And so that's why I did it, and I continue to do it, and we'll see what happens, but I think it's helped some people.
I'll tell you, they posted it. When was that Victoria's Secrets? When did you do
We
that?
shot it in August, but it came out in October.
Of last year.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so
This past October.
I don't pay attention to social media or stuff in the news, all that stuff. But anyways, I remember, and I thought that was when, but I remember somebody in the my Flat Out Love group posted, "Oh my God, there's a Victoria's Secrets model that's flat," and or boobless, and everybody was just like, "Oh my God, that's amazing," And so it does make an impact more than you probably, than more a lot of this. My booby crowns. It's the first time I've ever worn a real bra. How bad is that?
It says love. Right?
Yeah, she made this one special for me. You actually have one being made for you.
Who made it?
But the Booby Queen, she has a not-for-profit, and she donates for one that's bought. She donates one to somebody in active treatment. And I'll tell you what, the joy these things bring people. There was like 7 of them in the airport after Colorado with all their booby crowns on. It was great,
That's amazing. What an incredible idea.
I'm sorry?
What an incredible idea.
Yeah, right. And I mean, and her husband helps her make them. He made one that was the Grinch for Christmas. I kind of like that one. She said, "I gotta make you another one," So, but yeah, she makes them, and yeah, she has a non-for-profit, and it's really cool because I mean, what else are you gonna do with your bras?
Right. I gave
wear them.
I gave mine away. I donated mine.
But yours were probably more than just Kohl's sports bras. They were probably like Victoria's Secrets. I only had these little jockey sports bras.
They were pretty.
So,
they were pretty.
But so I don't know. It's crazy though. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, there's a flat Victoria's Secrets model," and I didn't pay it no mind really. I was like, "That's awesome," but I had no idea. I didn't pay attention to your name. I looked at the pictures or whatever, and then like I had posted about we were going to do a podcast together, and a friend of mine, Becky, she's like, "Oh my God, I love Christine." And I was like, "You know her?" And she's like, "No, but I want to be on your podcast. I love her." I was like, "Okay." I've had a couple of people go, "Can we be on your podcast?" I'm like, "Why not? We should, we can have guests on for sure." Because I think everybody's journey is different. And I think it's important to go through those, and talk about it, because a lot of people didn't go directly to flat, and they had implants and they did get sick. Or I met somebody on TikTok. Never did I imagine would be such a great tool.
Yes.
I had tried to avoid that for the platform for a long time, being a comedian.
Yes.
This young lady I met on TikTok, and she's like, she wrote a thing. "I just figured out that I'm going to have to remove my breast because I figured out I do have breast implant illness." She goes, "The problem is I've met other people on this app, but I've never met somebody just like me, 30 years old." And I reached out and I said, "There's a lot of yous in my group." And then me and Becky actually helped her get with the doctor up in Michigan, because nobody will take out the encapsulation and everything for her, totally get everything out. Because I guess you have to get that. I don't know enough about it. It's not my experience. The capsule that's in there, I guess they came out with the FDA. Those actually, the capsules that they're in can cause like 3 different types of cancers now.
Yeah, I think.
And so you got to get that totally out. But she went to 3 different doctors, and they said, "No, that's dumb. We're not doing that." And so we connected her up here, and I think she's going to come up to Michigan. She's like, "It's far away." And I said, "You have a flat family now. We'll get you a place to stay up there. I guarantee you that."
That's so
she's, I mean, it's cool because this flat group and these people they're ride or dies. They'll do anything in the world for another flatty. It's something incredible. It really is. It's one of the neatest thing I've ever been part of.
That's a really cool inclusive group. That's amazing.
most people would never ask to be in it, but they won't ever leave it now. And
Right.
of course they won't leave it now, but they would never give up.
Right.
It's like the Colorado trip. So many of them had so much anxiety about getting on that plane to come to a
Yeah.
place far away with all these people they didn't know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And most there, we did have some back out because they were so anxious, but the ones
Oh,
that came that were scared to get on that plane didn't want to leave,
yeah.
because it was so they're like, this is, and we have Canadians already booked their cabins for our first meetup in Ohio. We've got 2 cabins from them. Our Mexican flatty that was in Colorado, she's coming with her whole cabin. They're all meeting in Nashville together.
That is so cool.
I mean, it's just so incredible what the
That-
community. I don't think you'll ever have a community like this for any other reason.
Wow.
You know
Good
what I
for
mean?
you. Good
That's
for you.
so.
Yeah.
No, not me. It's just all of us. It's just
Yeah.
it's crazy when you find people that really get it and understand.
Yeah.
So
You're opening that up, and you've created a community. That's beautiful.
well,
Good for you.
with help. But so
Oh.
who are you modeling for now? Anybody?
So
Are you allowed to
regularly,
talk?
uh, yeah, well, a couple not,
Mhm.
but yeah, some are coming up, which I can't talk about, which are
Yeah, that's
exciting
what I figured.
because I'm not just modeling for one that's coming up, but I'm also helping design something. So that's exciting. I can't say anything yet. And it's a brand that pretty much everybody knows. And then, but I have a lot of typical clients. Like I have Ellie Tahari and hopefully, I mean, the Victoria's Secret fashion show just got re-signed, so they're going to start doing runway again. So I don't know.
Maybe again.
Well, I don't know. They're going through some transition. Their president and CEO, I don't know if she quit or I don't know what happened about a month ago. So they're transitioning in leadership. So we'll see.
It's funny because I'm, looking for sponsorships for the event that we're going cross
Right.
country. And I reached out to Tommy Hilfiger because they had it. I was looking at clothes online because they sent me an email and they had an adaptive line. And I was like, because I'm an adaptive athlete in CrossFit because of my MS, And so I was like, okay, let me see what you have, which most adaptive athletes are, amputee of
Yeah.
not just breast, but other things. And I said, so I sent him an email and I said, hey, have you ever thought about doing an adaptive line for flat breast cancer survivors? Because there is a need. They haven't got back to me, not yet. They said your information has been passed along. So you know how that goes.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think it is a need that's out there because a lot of these, a lot of people that are flat, they're like, well, what do I wear now? And I'm like, anything you want.
Right.
Anything you want, because now you have the options of wearing men's clothes and they fit right too. That's all I've ever worn. I never changed any clothes.
Interesting.
So, but I mean, I think it is a need, and a lot of people are wearing their shirts backwards. One of the ladies wore her dress backwards at the ball. That was like a cross, in the back,
Oh, yeah.
and so it showed her scar crisscross
wow.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I mean, and a lot of people turn their shirts around that are cut back in the back and
Right. Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think there is a need for clothes specifically for flatties.
Yes. No, I totally agree. I think that
So,
it's time. It's important and it is time.
yeah, for
Especially,
sure,
I mean,
for sure.
especially lingerie. I mean, like,
Well, we do have Anna Ono, which is amazing, and Scarlett. And we had a fashion show out in Colorado, and them two and Tomboy X, and then
oh,
April's
that's amazing. I didn't know that.
No Taz. Yeah. Tomboy X actually has a uniboob sports bra because one of the owners,
Yeah.
the 2 women, one of them was a survivor and she was a uni.
Yes.
So they have a slingshot sports bra.
I love that.
And then and I wear their boxers. And then Anna Ono does the prosthetic they even have the gown that has the places for the drains and everything. And
Yeah.
they have the boob inclusive. I have a jacket and sweatpants that have the boobs on it, and stuff. They're really cool. And then Scarlett does the lingerie and stuff like that. There is some flat lingerie stuff. It's nice that they have that kind of stuff too. So
I just found out about that brand recently.
Scarlett or Anna.
Yeah.
Huh?
Scarlett.
Oh, Scarlett. Yeah, she's amazing. She's in our group too. She's over in the UK.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, if we don't have access to this information, how do we know? Right. It's like, if we don't talk about the tour, how are people going to know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's why we did I'm an equal opportunity person. I don't care if you have one boob, if you're tall, you're skinny, you're big,
Yeah.
short. I wasn't going to do the fashion show unless we had everybody that could be represented that wanted to be.
Right.
And once Tomboy X got involved, because they're more of a gender neutral type thing, because I wear their body, it's more for like me, people like me.
Yes.
We have a lot of people like me.
Yes.
It's not all, femme women, that we had all of that together. And we had this, one of the daughters, I asked her about the weekend. I said, what'd you think about the weekend? She goes, that fashion show was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Oh,
These
that's
flatties had so much confidence out there strutting their stuff. It was the neatest thing. And
very cool.
it was very nice of, Anna Ono, Scarlett, and Tomboy X, and Nantas. She makes scarves and stuff. It was, they were amazing to donate so much clothes for all that. And it just made these flatties feel so good about themselves. Even if it was just for the hour,
It matters. It
It
matters.
does. It does. And
matters
they have a lot more confidence now. I've asked their spouses since they've been back, what's the difference? Oh, confidence. So
That's amazing.
yeah, it's fun. It's
Are you
fun.
gonna
It brings me joy.
Yeah. Are you going to do any of those on the tour this summer?
We're going to do some silent discos at the big ones, because we did that and that was pretty amazing, where you all have your own headsets and there's like 3 different stations and you
Right.
don't hear anything. You just, everybody dances their own music, and it's cool for introverts that never get on the dance floor. They do with that, because it's like when you're dancing in the shower by yourself, we're doing that, but I don't think we're gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna see Dana for Ana Ono, because we're stopping in Philly and that's where they're at, and Bianca. And
Okay.
Bianca came out to help us with the fashion show, and she's a singer-songwriter and she works with Ana Ono, and pretty amazing.
Amazing.
So I don't know if we're going to do anything like that this year, because we're going 55 days in 35 cities. So we don't have much time.
Woo! Holy
Yeah.
cow.
I've lost my damn mind, I think.
I think maybe.
But yeah, so all right. Well,
Awesome.
I think this has been great, actually.
I do too.
I think it's good. I think it's good. And hopefully, hopefully we can reach some people and help them, and that's just
Always.
finding the people is the big thing, just, we got to find them. And that's why, getting public interviews and stuff like that, is so important to get the word out there.
Flat Out Secrets with Christine Handy and Sears.